Managers don't need economics to draw curves on whiteboards. They need it to avoid expensive mistakes. Economics trains you to ask the right questions before making decisions. Think of it as a mental toolkit, like Excel, boring until you need it, then suddenly very useful and very profitable. Every managerial decision is a choice under scarcity. Time, money, attention are limited. Saying yes to one option always means saying no to something else. Free lunches exist only at conferences, and even then you pay with your time and sanity. Opportunity cost is the value of the best alternative you give up. If you invest resources in one project, the real cost is the next best option you did not choose. Managers ignore this constantly and then wonder why good-looking projects feel disappointing. Suppose Project A earns $200K profit. Sounds good. Accounting says profit. Economics says bad decision, because Project B would earn $350K using the same resources. Thus, choosing A has an opportunity cost of $150K. A 2-hour meeting with 5 managers costs not 2 hours, but 10. If each manager's time is worth $100 per hour, that meeting costs $1,000. Suddenly, alignment meetings look expensive. Sunk costs are already incurred and cannot be recovered. Economically, they should not affect decisions. Psychologically, they always do. Managers hate admitting mistakes, so bad projects often continue longer than they should. A firm spends $7 million on an IT system that clearly will not work. Rational decision is to stop. Managerial decision is to finish it. They spend the remaining $3 million and still get nothing. Good decisions are made at the margin. Airlines do not ask if flying is profitable. They ask if selling one more seat covers marginal cost. That is why planes are rarely empty. Managers love averages. Economics hates them. Suppose that marginal cost of making another pizza is $2. This includes the cost of ingredients such as tomato and pepperoni. But average costs is $5, which includes the costs of renting premises. If pizza sells for $6, we earn $4 on the last pizza sold. Producing more units increases profit even if average cost looks high. A restaurant with empty tables has low marginal cost. Offering discounts late in the evening may reduce average margins but increases total profit. That is why discounts appear after peak hours. There is no perfect option, only trade-offs. Promising cheap, fast, and perfect usually delivers none of the three. Managers do not choose freely. Decisions are constrained by budgets, capacity, and regulations. Ignoring constraints turns strategy into fantasy. People respond to incentives, not speeches. Poorly designed incentives reliably produce poor outcomes. Rewarding sales revenue encourages discounting. Revenue grows, profits fall. Incentives worked perfectly, just not as intended. Managers optimize, not maximize. Balancing profit, risk, and reputation works better than chasing one metric. Risk can be measured. Uncertainty cannot. Spreadsheets hide this difference, but managers feel it. If a project has a 50% chance to earn $1 million and a 50% chance to lose $200K, expected value is positive. Many managers still reject it emotionally. Drug development expects failure. Individually bad projects make sense as a portfolio. Economics explains why best pharmaceutical innovators are typical large firms. They can afford many failing projects for one megastar drug. Most decisions are incremental. The question is always whether marginal benefit exceeds marginal cost. For example, it makes sense to hire additional manager at $50,000 if he brings $60,000 in profits. What works for a startup may fail at scale. Fixed costs and complexity grow. Good managerial economics comes down to 3 habits. Always compare real alternatives, ignore sunk costs, and think at the margin. Managers who do this consistently make fewer emotional decisions and avoid expensive, repeatable mistakes. This simple rule outperforms many fancy frameworks. Economic thinking is disliked by managers because it removes comforting stories. Economics may sound harsh, but knowing it will pay off in the long run. Bias is everywhere, which is why intuition alone is unreliable in business decisions. Economic structure adds discipline, helping managers think clearly and act consistently under pressure. Firms hire economists to solve real business problems, not to draw theory on slides. Pricing decisions, auction design, and competitive strategy all require structured economic thinking to avoid costly mistakes and capture value. Amazon and Google hire economists for decisions, not theory. Managers should be trained to think like economists, not rely on separate analysts. The best decisions happen when analysis and action live in the same mind. The best managers combine intuition and analysis. Economics will not give certainty, guarantees, or perfect answers. What it does give managers is a disciplined way to reduce costly mistakes when certainty is impossible. Most costly managerial mistakes follow the same pattern: ignoring opportunity costs, relying on averages, and clinging to sunk costs. These errors repeat across industries. Economics often helps managers avoid these predictable, repeatable errors. Economics is not about formulas, but about structure and clarity in thinking. Once managers internalize it as a mental model, decisions become faster, cleaner, and more consistent. This mindset sets the foundation for everything that follows in managerial economics. Next, we apply it to understanding demand, making cost-based decisions, and designing effective pricing strategies. Thinking economically helps managers see trade-offs clearly and avoid predictable decision errors. Better decisions don't always mean bigger wins, but they consistently mean losing less money over time. Microeconomics is the standard academic name for this course. It studies how individuals and firms make decisions under scarcity, focusing on prices, incentives, and trade-offs. Despite the formal name, this logic sits behind everyday business decisions. When the focus shifts to firms, microeconomics is often called theory of the firm. The name sounds abstract, but the content is highly practical: how firms produce, price, and compete in real markets. Some programs emphasize consumer behavior and call the course consumer choice. This framing highlights how customers decide what to buy, how much they value products, and how demand is formed. MBA programs often rename microeconomics as Managerial Economics. The goal is not theory for its own sake, but better decision-making under real-world constraints faced by managers. Business economics is another applied label for microeconomic thinking. Different name, same core logic. Structured reasoning about choices, incentives, and trade-offs in business. Large technology firms actively employ economists, not for theory, but to support pricing decisions, data-driven strategy, and large-scale experimentation. At Amazon, economists work on pricing, promotions, and demand forecasting. Prices are constantly tested and adjusted using economic models and controlled experiments. Google's advertising business is built on auction theory. Economists design mechanisms that balance revenue, advertiser incentives, and user experience at massive scale. Hal Varian became Google's chief economist, not a symbolic role. Nobel-winning auction theory now runs real digital markets, not just academic journals. Firms hire economists because structured economic thinking reduces costly errors. In complex markets, intuition alone is expensive, while economic logic scales well.